This is The Amazing Beauty of Creation. I'm Bilal Katrada.
And I'm Talha Katrada.
And this is the show that brings you up close with the universe around you. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our new episode of Amazing Beauty of Creation. Now Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran in Surah Baqarah, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. So here Allah Ta'ala talks about two things. He says, indeed, in the creations of the heavens and the earth, and the very next thing he brings up is the alternation of night and day. So in a previous episode we spoke about the alternation of night and day, how it happens. It happens because of the rotation of the earth. As the earth spins, then there's a side that faces the sun, and there's a side that's in darkness, and that's the side that's night, and the side that's facing the sun is in day, and it continues like that. Now, we don't think sometimes how precisely the earth moves. I mean, for thousands of years, for tens of thousands of years, the earth's been moving, it's been spinning. I mean, if you take a spinning top and you put it on the table and you spin it, eventually it will start slowing down. It may wobble, it may come across a part where there's a bit of friction and slow down. It may speed up. But when you look at the earth and the other celestial bodies, they are moving constantly at the same speed, because we never ever find a scenario where one day the day is longer, the day is shorter. We don't find that our clocks are telling us that it should be Maghrib time, but it's still bright daylight because the earth slowed down in its spin. Never ever happens. So all these are very, very precise and very, very controlled. And what's really amazing is the speed at which the earth is moving. I mean, if you are sitting somewhere listening to this, right? Let's say you're sitting at home and you're listening to this podcast. Are you really still? You're not. You're actually moving at an incredibly fast speed. You're actually moving, even though you may be sitting or lying down or sleeping in your bed. You are actually moving at 1,600 kilometers per hour. That's the speed at which the earth spins, and that spin is what gives us night and day. Now, you consider this scenario. Imagine if the earth slowed down, or worse still, if the earth suddenly just stopped spinning. You know, like a top that we mentioned earlier on, that top is spinning at an incredibly fast pace, and somebody just grabs it and puts a stop to it. Now, it's hard to imagine what will happen. I think Talha's got some ideas about what will happen if the earth suddenly, all of a sudden, just stops spinning. Talha, what will happen? We're spinning at 1,600 kilometers per hour, and somebody hits a dead brakes on that, and the earth stopped spinning. What will happen to us?
Okay, so firstly, the earth would stop accelerating at 1,600 kilometers per hour, but everything on it will still be moving at that speed.
Because of the inertia. I mean, like a car crashes and everything inside, everybody moves for, okay.
Now, that will cause everything on the world that isn't tied down to go flying eastwards at speeds of 1,600 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
So we're talking about people, cars, trees, entire buildings will get ripped from the ground and sent flying. Now, the atmosphere would keep rotating at 1,600 kilometers as well. The atmosphere, because it's not attached to the earth, it's just gas surrounding the earth, it will keep rotating.
Okay, it'll keep moving at 1,600 kilometers per hour because inertia again.
So that will cause tremendously strong winds all around the planet. Then the second thing that would happen is the oceans will also keep moving. So you would get tidal waves that are kilometers and kilometers high, just racing across the planet. A single day will, because the earth is stopped spinning. Now the spin of the earth gives us night and day, but if the earth stops spinning, then a single day will last 6 months and a single night will last 6 months.
So that night and day will come about not through rotation but through revolution. As the earth moves around the sun, then it's kind of hard to picture it, right? But if you hold a ball in front of a flame and you're spinning it around the flame, say a candle flame, if you imagine that scenario, so the ball, as you're spinning it, there's a time when part of the ball is facing the flame, and there's a time when the other part of the ball is facing the flame. So that's the only way we'll get night and day. But imagine, let's go back to those winds and those tidal waves. I mean, suddenly the earth stops, and this inertia causes the oceans to just... Do you think anything will be left on this earth? I don't think anything will be left. I don't think anyone will survive with wind speeds like that and with waves that size. All right.
Okay, now the night and day will be from one sunrise to the next sunrise will be exactly 1 year, because of now a revolution determining night and day and not rotation. Now the side that's experiencing daytime will be extremely hot. It will be almost like the entire half of the planet will become almost like a desert, because it's just 6 months of continued beating from the sun without any rest. And the half that's experiencing night will, on the other hand, be extremely cold, because there will be little to no heat reaching it from the sun. So for the 6 months that it's in darkness, it will be extremely cold and uninhabitable by humans. The only place that humans, if any of them survive, will be able to stay is this thin area on the side of the earth that will be experiencing sunrise, where it's getting just a little bit of heat, not enough to make it uninhabitable and hot, but it's getting enough to keep it warm and keeping it from freezing over.
But if that's the case, if there are any survivors, hypothetically, right, which I doubt, I mean, tidal waves and winds at 1,600 kilometers per hour, if somebody survived on that strip, but isn't that strip moving all the time? So as the earth revolves around the sun, that strip is moving. So they won't be able to actually settle. They'll have to just keep moving every day, every couple of weeks. They'll have to just keep moving. And then what about growing their food? I mean, it takes a good couple of months for crops to grow, at least to a level where they can be eaten. So nothing will actually grow, because, I mean, you in between this frozen wasteland and this desert, and you're trying to grow some plants, but every couple of days you have to keep moving. So before your plants can germinate, you already have to move, and everything dies. So the outlook is bleak for these survivors.
Because that place, humans will have to keep migrating to keep up with the area of the earth that's experiencing sunrise. That's the only place that's habitable. So unless they get maybe really fast growing crops, or maybe keep livestock, survival is not looking too good for them.
Yeah.
Now another thing that will happen is the Earth's oceans will recede to the north and the south pole because of the gravitational pull. Now, when the Earth is spinning, it causes a bulge around the equator that causes the oceans to be spread around the entire globe. But if the rotation had to stop, eventually those oceans will go to the North Pole and the South Pole.
Okay.
So the lands to the north and the lands to the south will be completely flooded, and the only land will be a thin belt that's around the equator. That will be the only piece of dry land for people to stay on.
Wow.
Okay, and then this will result in one single supercontinent. There won't be multiple continents around the globe anymore.
Right, so one sort of belt of a continent spreading around the earth, and oceans at the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
So that'll be quite a weird setup, isn't it? Very, very weird. And what will happen is all the undersea crevices and mountains will be exposed. So places that were previously covered by ocean, like say the middle of the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, will now be exposed. Maybe the Mariana Trench will also be, part of it will be exposed. So, I mean, there'll be this deep ravine in the middle of the earth. Wow, amazing. But then these oceans, right, so they're going to be polarized to the north and south poles. But half of the oceans are going to be frozen. What will happen on the side that the sun is shining on? Won't it evaporate?
It might, and what this could cause is, because of the difference in heat between one side of the earth and the other, it could cause the side that's experiencing daytime, water will keep evaporating into the atmosphere, and because of the lack of heat on the other side, the density of the atmosphere will be a lot lower, so those clouds will move to the other side of the Earth. So
Okay.
the side that's experiencing night will be constantly in storms, terrible, terrible storms.
Oh, wow, that's so scary just thinking about it. It's like this, the descriptions we hear about some of the other planets like Venus and Jupiter. I think we should cover those planets in a future episode. What we know about those planets, because it's really interesting, but scary at the same time. All right. So, I mean, when you look at the Earth and the way it's spinning and the speed at which it's spinning, 1,600 kilometers per hour, I think you can see Allah's greatness, Allah's qudrat, and His power and His might. And there's something else. You can see the perfection of His creation. That the Earth is moving at a very, very precise speed. I mean, think about it. We always mention this, but it always fills me with awe. The precision. We talk about the precision of a Swiss watch, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny little object. But if you look at the celestial bodies, you look at the galaxy, the solar system, the precision at which everything is moving, the spin of the Earth being at 1,600 kilometers per hour is actually not random. It doesn't just happen by chance. That precise speed is what supports life on Earth. I mean, if the spin of the Earth was slower, then we may not have extreme examples like what you mentioned, but the days would be much, much longer. So imagine if the Earth was spinning at 800 kilometers per hour, the day should be twice as long, and the night should be twice as long, and then life would be totally impossible, because then oceans and rivers would start evaporating at a too fast rate. The side where the sun is shining would become too hot for people to live, and for animals would die, and life would be impossible on Earth. We wouldn't be able to survive on Earth. Nothing will be able to survive on Earth. And on the other hand, if the Earth was spinning much faster, a little faster, say it was spinning at 2,000 kilometers per hour, then the day would be too short. It would be too short to even warm the side of the Earth that have been in the night. So wouldn't be able to sustain life. So you can see just in the precise speed that Allah Ta'ala has created this Earth and made it spin. It shows His might and His greatness of His creation. That's why Allah Ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ. These are the precise calculations of the being who is extremely powerful and extremely knowledgeable. Allah Ta'ala created this system to support life, and He did this with very, very specific and precise measurements. So this shows the greatness of Allah Ta'ala's creation. But additionally, I mean, if you look at not just the speed of the Earth in its spin, but if you look at the speed of the Earth as it revolves around the sun, that revolution causes the seasons. It gives us the seasons. Even that is also perfectly timed. So here's something new you learned today. The day the Earth stood still, what happens? And we also see the greatness of the creation, and we also see why in this ayat Allah Ta'ala makes specific reference to the alternation of night and day, because in that also there's a miracle. There's a miracle of Allah Ta'ala's creation. Alright, that's a wrap for today. Catch us the next time, inshallah, and please, as always, keep sending us your comments and tell us if there's anything specific you want to hear about.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and on Twitter @ABofCreation. Give us feedback on our podcast and let us know if there's anything specific you'd like us to discuss in a future episode.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.